I was 17 when I first heard the story. Not from a book or some spooky podcast, but straight from someone I trusted. My Uncle Mike had been a truck driver most of his life, the kind of guy who'd seen a little bit of everything on the road. He didn't scare easy, but when he talked about Route 44, he got quiet. Real quiet. One night, while we were sitting on the back porch after dinner, he lit a cigarette, stared out into the dark like he was watching something move out there, and said to me, "Kid, if you're ever driving late at night along Route 44, especially near the Rehoboth stretch, don't stop for nobody. You hear me? Nobody. And if you see a woman in a blue dress standing by the road, keep driving. Don't slow down. Don't look back. Don't say a word." He didn't laugh, didn't even smirk. Just took another drag, like it was the most serious thing in the world. At the time, I thought he was just trying to scare me. Maybe it was some old ghost story that truckers passed around to keep things interesting on long drives. I mean, every town's got one, right? Some ghostly hitchhiker, some creepy stretch of road, some legend meant to keep kids off the back roads after dark. I brushed it off. Thing is, I started hearing the story from other people. My friend Tori said her cousin once saw a woman just like that, standing in the middle of Route 44, completely still. When her cousin slowed down to see if the woman needed help, her car shut off. Just died right there. No power, no lights, nothing. And when she looked up, the woman was at her window, just staring at her with a crooked smile and eyes like glass. She locked the doors, closed her eyes, and started praying. When she opened them, the woman was gone, and the car turned back on like nothing ever happened. Tori swore it was true. She said her cousin hasn't driven that road again since. They still didn't buy it, until Jesse disappeared. Jesse was my best friend. We'd known each other since elementary school, played soccer together, stayed up late watching horror movies, pulled dumb pranks on Halloween, typical teenage stuff. He had this little band that played at bars and college parties, and he was finally starting to get gigs outside our town. One night, he had a show out in Providence, Rhode Island. Nothing big, just a late night thing at a dive bar. He called me around midnight, said the show went great, and that he was heading home. I remember him laughing, telling me how some drunk girl tried to climb on stage and fell face first into the drum set. Typical Jesse story. That was the last time I ever heard his voice. He didn't show up the next day. His mom called me, panicked, asking if I knew where he went after the show. I told her he said he was heading back, probably taking the scenic route. Jesse liked driving alone at night, said it helped him think. She filed a missing persons report the next morning. 2 days later, they found his car on the shoulder of Route 44. Not crashed, not out of gas, just parked, like someone pulled over calmly. The driver's side door was wide open. No Jesse, no wallet, no phone, just his guitar case in the trunk, and a weird smell in the air like burnt wood mixed with old perfume. The kind your grandma might wear. There were no signs of a struggle. No blood, no footprints, no tire marks. It was like he just vanished. People said he ran away, that maybe he was stressed and wanted to disappear for a while. But that wasn't Jesse. He was grounded. He had a girlfriend he adored, a younger sister he promised to help get into college, and he hated leaving things unfinished. He would have at least left a note. That smell stayed with me. I didn't even smell it in person, just heard about it, but for some reason I couldn't forget it. Sometimes I'd catch a whiff of something similar while walking through a store or standing in an elevator. Something floral and burnt at the same time. It always made the hairs on my neck stand up. I started reading everything I could about Route 44. Old forums, Reddit threads, Facebook posts. Most of it was nonsense, but every now and then, there'd be something that matched what Uncle Mike and Tori had said. Stories going back decades. People seeing the same woman, middle-aged, long brown hair, pale skin, blue dress, no shoes, always on that same stretch of road, and always at night. Some say she just stares. Others say she tries to hitch a ride. And the unlucky few, well, no one really knows what happens to them, because they don't come back. I didn't tell my mom about any of this. She'd already cried enough over Jesse. Didn't need her worrying about ghosts. But I couldn't let it go. Every night I went to bed, I'd lie there wondering what Jesse saw, what he heard, what made him stop. Was it really just a story? Or was he the latest name in a long line of people who ignored the warning? I started driving the route during the day, just to see it for myself. It didn't look scary. Honestly, it was kind of peaceful. Lots of trees, a few old signs, broken fences here and there. But there was something strange about the way it felt, like the silence was too deep, like the road was watching you. I know that sounds crazy, but that's the only way I can explain it. You drive through most places and the noise just fades into the background. Birds, wind, passing cars. But on that stretch of Route 44, it was like the world held its breath. I told myself I'd never go there at night. I wasn't stupid. Even if I didn't believe in ghosts, I believed in bad luck, and that road had it written all over. But one night, curiosity got the best of me, and that's when everything changed. It had been 3 days since that night on Route 44. 3 long, sleepless nights. I hadn't told anyone about what I saw, not even my brother. Every time I closed my eyes, I saw her face again. Those sunken, empty eyes and that crooked smile that looked like it had been carved into her face with a rusty knife. I kept telling myself, maybe I'd imagined it. Maybe it was just one of those weird, late-night hallucinations your brain pulls when you're too tired to think straight. But deep down, I knew better. Something had happened on that road, and it wasn't done with me. Friday night rolled around. My friends had been bugging me to get out of the house. Said I looked like crap, like I hadn't slept or showered in a week. They weren't wrong. I'd been jumpy, avoiding mirrors, flinching at shadows. I thought maybe if I went out, got my mind off things, it'd help. Just reset. So I said yes. We hit up this bar just outside of town. One of those dimly lit places where the beer's cheap and the jukebox only plays old country songs. The vibe was fine, chill even. I almost forgot about everything. Almost. That is, until I stepped outside for some air and saw a car parked across the street. It was the same make and model as mine. Same color. Same busted taillight on the left side. I stared at it for a long moment, heart thudding in my chest, trying to convince myself it was just coincidence. There had to be dozens of cars like mine in this town, right? Then I saw the shape inside. Someone was sitting in the passenger seat, still as a statue, face turned toward me, watching. I blinked hard, rubbed my eyes, looked again, and the car was gone. Gone. I rushed back inside, shaken. My friends asked what was wrong, and I just mumbled something about not feeling great. I couldn't tell them. They'd laugh, or worse, they'd believe me. And if they believed me, that made it all more real. The drive home was a quiet one. I kept my hands at 10 and 2, eyes glued to the road, avoiding the rearview mirror like it was cursed. I took the long way home. No more shortcuts. No more Route 44. At least, that was the plan. But somewhere along the way, I missed a turn. I didn't realize it at first. Everything looked kind of the same in the dark. Just empty stretches of road and the occasional tree line. Then I saw the sign. It was half faded, rusted, barely legible under the moonlight, but I saw it clear as day. Route 44. My stomach dropped. I slammed the brakes and pulled a hard U-turn. Tires screeched. Gravel kicked up into the trees. I didn't care. I just needed to get the hell away. But no matter where I turned, every street, every fork in the road led me right back to it. It was like the road had wrapped itself around me, refusing to let go. And then she appeared again. Same spot as before. Same long dark hair. Same torn dress swaying in the breeze that didn't exist. This time I didn't stop. I floored it. Blew past her doing 70, heart hammering in my chest like it was trying to break out. But even as I passed, I caught a glimpse in my peripheral vision. She was smiling again. That awful, frozen grin. I didn't look back, not even once. When I finally made it home, I just sat in my driveway for a good 10 minutes. Engine running, hands trembling. I didn't even realize I'd been crying until I tasted salt on my lips. Inside, I locked every door, every window, drew the curtains, left the lights on in every room. I even grabbed my dad's old baseball bat from the garage and kept it by my bed like that was going to do anything. Sleep didn't come easy. When it did, it was short and filled with the worst dreams I've ever had. Dreams where I was standing on the side of the road, arm outstretched, thumbing for a ride I didn't want. Dreams where she picked me up instead, her eyes hollow and mouth whispering things in a voice that sounded like wind through dead leaves. I woke up screaming more than once. The next day, I decided to do something I probably should have done from the start. I went looking for answers. Not from the police. They'd think I was nuts. No, I went to the internet. Started searching up everything I could find about Route 44. Urban legends, local ghost stories, old news articles. Most of it was nonsense. Reddit threads filled with half-baked creepypastas and blurry photos. But then I found a forum. One of those obscure, early 2000s style websites that hadn't been updated in years. There was a post, dated October 17, 2004. Never greet the woman on Route 44. My blood went cold. The user described her just like I saw her. Long black hair, pale skin, tattered dress, always standing on the roadside just before the old bridge that nobody uses anymore, and always smiling. The post said, "She doesn't hurt you. Not right away. She just watches. Haunts your steps until you break. And then she takes you." What did that mean? Takes you? Where? How? The post didn't say. I scrolled down, looking for more info, but there were no replies. Just one comment left by another user. A week later. Too late. I greeted her. That was the last activity on the thread. No updates, no replies. I tried messaging both accounts. No answer. Both profiles were inactive. That night, I stayed awake with every light in the house on, jumping at every creak in the floorboards, every distant dog bark. I kept checking the windows even though I didn't want to see her there. I think she likes it when you're afraid. She feeds off it. The thing is, I never greeted her. I never even slowed down. But maybe just seeing her is enough. Maybe once you've seen her, really seen her, she marks you. And maybe the warning isn't about not greeting her. Maybe the warning is about not seeing her in the first place. But it's too late for that now, because I see her everywhere. In reflections, in dreams, in the corners of my eye when I'm sure I'm alone. And I think, no, I know, she's getting closer. I stopped sleeping in my bedroom after that night. It just didn't feel safe anymore, like she could appear from any corner if I let my guard down. I moved to the living room couch instead. I kept the lights on, the TV playing reruns at a low volume, not even watching, just needing the sound. Silence was starting to feel dangerous. My days were spiraling. I skipped work twice, and when I did show up, I barely spoke. I'd just sit there, fingers gripping the mouse too tight, eyes flicking toward every shadow, ears twitching at every faint sound. A few coworkers asked if I was okay, but how could I explain? Oh, I accidentally made eye contact with a ghost on Route 44 and now she's following me. Wasn't something people accepted without judgment. Best case scenario? They'd think I needed sleep. Worst case, they'd call for help. But there was someone I remembered, Tony. Back in high school, Tony had said something weird once during lunch. Quiet guy, kept to himself, sat in the back row of Mr. Carson's history class. One day, he told a few of us that he'd seen a white lady walking down by the old lake road. Everyone laughed at him, obviously, called him crazy, said he was trying to get attention. But I remembered his face when he told it. Blank, pale, empty, in a way that didn't look made up. So I looked him up. His Facebook was still there, even though his last post was from 2 years ago. Profile picture, just a shadowy silhouette. I hesitated, then messaged him. This might sound insane, but I think I saw what you saw. Can we talk? I didn't expect a reply. Not that night. But a few hours later, my phone buzzed. You saw her too? I froze. That one sentence made my stomach flip. My fingers trembled as I typed. We agreed to meet at a small coffee shop on the edge of town. Neutral ground. Public. Brightly lit. I needed to feel like she couldn't just appear out of nowhere. Tony looked worse than I remembered. Thinner. Hair unkempt. Eyes hollow. He held his coffee cup with both hands, like he needed the warmth just to stay grounded. I thought I was losing my mind, I said, trying to keep my voice steady. But when you replied, it felt like I finally wasn't alone. He nodded slowly. Most people don't understand until it's too late. But if you've seen her, it's already started. What does that mean? I leaned in. Did she follow you too? Tony stared at me, eyes filled with something between pity and fear. She followed me for months, almost a year. At first, just glimpses. I'd see her at the edge of my mirror, or standing at the end of the hallway. Then she started showing up in my dreams, in pictures. I'd hear her whisper my name at night. I couldn't sleep. I couldn't think. What did you do? I asked. How did you make it stop? I left, he said. I packed everything and moved across the country. Nowhere near Route 44. Nowhere near anything that even touches it. And even then, I still feel her sometimes. like she's looking for me. I swallowed hard. It's only been a few days for me. I haven't heard her yet. Tony's eyes narrowed. You still have time, but you have to act fast. Don't let it go past 7 days. Why? He leaned closer, voice barely above a whisper. Because after a week, she starts to get inside. Not just into your home, but into your mind. I stared at him, unsure if I wanted to believe. But part of me already did. I'd felt her presence lingering in places I couldn't see. That night, I didn't go home. I drove around until morning. Gas station parking lots, 24-hour diners, anywhere with lights and people. I needed to feel real. The next morning, there was an envelope on my doorstep. No name, no stamp, just plain white, sealed. Inside was a single sheet of paper, typed, "Do not turn around if you hear your name." I nearly dropped it. My heart was racing, palms sweating. I hadn't told anyone what Tony said, so who knew? Was it him, or was it her? By day 5, I stopped going outside. Every sound inside the house felt amplified. I heard something breathing in the vents, something whispering behind doors. Sometimes in the corner of my eye, I'd see a flicker of white disappearing into a hallway I'd just walked down. On day 6, I started hearing her. It was soft at first, like humming, a lullaby I didn't recognize, sung in a voice that made my skin crawl. It came from the walls, from behind the TV, from under the floorboards. I could never quite place it, but it was there, always right at the edge of hearing. That night, I sat on the couch with a kitchen knife in my lap, lights on, curtains drawn, TV muted. I couldn't take my eyes off the hallway. And then, she called my name. The voice was quiet, feminine, gentle, but it came from the hallway. I froze. My muscles locked up. My mouth went dry. "Don't turn around," I whispered to myself, over and over. "Don't look," she called again. Closer this time. My body wanted to turn. Everything inside me screamed, to just glance over my shoulder, to see if someone was actually there. But I remembered the note. On the third call, the voice came from directly behind the couch. I ran, out the front door, into the cold night air. I didn't stop until I was 3 blocks away, standing under a flickering streetlight. I was barefoot, still holding the knife. I slept in my car that night. Or, more accurately, I didn't sleep at all. Tomorrow is day 7. I don't know what's going to happen. But if she calls again, and I turn around, it's over.